this is an off-the-cuff question, just based on what you guys were saying, and it's okay if you can't answer this. Do you find that your clients, the children, see you as like a sibling figure or even a parental figure or caregiver figure?
I think so, and they sometimes get our relationship mixed up too. I've gotten, is Josh your brother or your boyfriend? So I mean, it keeps us laughing, which is good. But yeah, it is because it's a fun thing. We make it fun for them. We do tell them why we come, because we don't want them to think that we're coming in there just to play with them. But I mean, I think too, being young, that can be a challenge as well. Yeah.
One of the biggest things that we stress is not going in there to be the better parent, because that's something that come up too. Like, for example, especially being like a male care coordinator, especially in the mental health field or social work field, there's not a lot of men in there. We're very underrepresented. And I go into these homes, and sometimes, unfortunately, they might not have like a father figure, and they may want my presence because they're lacking that male figure. And I decide if it's appropriate or not, if me to come in. But sometimes they might have a father figure that just may be absent in the home. They're working a lot of hours, or maybe their culture enables absence in their lives. It's best for the children to be seen, not heard, right? Like, for some cultures, so the dad may not be involved. They maybe rely on the mother to kind of do the nurturance part of parenting. But we always like to remind ourselves, and our supervisors does a great job as well, that we are going in there to role model parenting, not necessarily be the better parent, and also serve as an echo, as an amplifier of a microphone as well to the parents' concerns or whatever they want to address. We are echoing the parent. We're not there to be the better parent. We always take what the parents say to heart, like Paige mentioned before. They're the experts of their child. We're only with them for an hour. And yeah, like, we just are there to echo with the parents. So we do not contrast. We may have suggestions. We may have some things that the parents can tweak, but we always believe our parents are capable of being the best parents they can be, and we're there to echo. So if they have something to say, if they have something they want to address, and let's say the children's not listening to them, we echo it. So they know that we're not there to be the good parent, the bad parent, whatever the case may be. We're there to just share, to amplify what the mom or dad is saying.
Right. We also use the team approach with the caregiver, right? I'd say we're a team, so there's no like power differentials between me, Josh, and the caregiver, right? So, and even though, right, like, I'm the clinician, he's the care coordinator, we have different roles, but we're still even playing field. And we provide different things, but together is what makes it happen. So that's why we also like to tell the caregivers, like, we're a team, we're here to support you, to listen to your concerns, and guide you through to best support your child.
Yeah, and then with the work that Paige does, when it's done correctly, which we try our best, right? We're there to observe them play, and our role is not to ideally like play with them all the time. This might be some opportunities, like I provide some fun games for all of us to do, just to lighten some of the hard work that she does. Especially we have a trauma case, but we're just there to kind of observe and focus on their relationship. We're not there to kind of add to the relationship. We're not there to be aunts and uncles or brothers and sisters. We're there to kind of contain that little special moment of them.
Right.
Because the work happens when the work in progress happens, especially when they have a good relationship. And that's what we find, and that's our approach. That's the model we do. We're relationship building. And in turn, if they increase and establish a better relationship, hopefully the behaviors of the child will decrease. So yeah, if that to answer your question, yeah, like sometimes we do get mixed up, but we try our best to make our lines clear, to make our roles clear, that we're not there as aunts and uncles or brothers and sisters.
Right. And you also brought a good point about your identity as a male, right? And how that may be a positive or a negative too, right? primarily we work with mothers right now, and we only focus on one caregiver and one child at a time. So it's really fostering that parent-child relationship between the two. So sometimes, like for one of our clients, a male client who lacks his father's presence, Josh is a great role model for him, and it really works. So it's also, we tailor, like he said, to each client, whereas sometimes not so much, right? Where we have a female client who there was domestic violence in the home, where the mom was the victim and the father was the perpetrator. So sometimes, but it's a strength in and of itself, especially since this field does lack male figures. So it's definitely, it's a pleasure to have him on my team.
Yeah, a lot of reading the room, a lot of reading the room. Like,
right.
Where do I fit in? Where do I don't? Acknowledging that there are some triggers, acknowledging that there are some disadvantages and advantages of a male presence. And it could be the same thing for if our primary caregivers were men, but unfortunately we just don't come across those things too much.
Right.
Yeah.
So segueing, it's a perfect segue into the next question actually. Who is someone in your life that you look up to?
So I would say my dad. Josh was like, I knew you were gonna say that. My dad unfortunately passed away last year.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you. But he was definitely someone I looked up to and continue to, because I know I believe he's still with me and like guiding me through all of this. So I look up to him. I also look up to each and every one of my coworkers here, actually, because they give me support, they give me strength, and I learn something from each and every one of them.
Right, no, but I agree. My inspirations are the people that I work with. I always learn more. It's nice to know that I'm never alone in this work, in this field. Especially being young social workers, being young mental health providers. It's nice, and it keeps me going that people are in the same wavelength as me, It's nice to have that friendly, like, go get them, that go get them tiger, right? But I guess for my inspiration, it's my brother. He was the first person that ended up getting into college in our family. Growing up in Bridgeport, like, there's not many options, but he gave me the opportunity to kind of feel like, okay, I could do this. He was the first person to get it in, and he's also in the mental health field as well. He's pursuing his master's in social work and becoming a therapist eventually. And he definitely encouraged me to kind of continue my education. There was a time where I was a knucklehead. I didn't want to do college. I didn't even want to do high school. But seeing him enjoy his time pursuing education and him giving me the opportunity to even come visit him in college when I was younger, I'm like, wow, like, this is what it is. Like, this is what college is like. It's fun. It's engaging. A lot of opportunities to learn, but also a good networking opportunity. Is a place to meet friends where it's actually cool to learn. It's actually cool to take in knowledge where oftentimes you might be in an environment growing up where being smart or seeking knowledge is not the best thing to do, or not the most fun, or not the cool thing to do. So he showed me that there is a side where, like, education is the way to go, and he's definitely an inspiration of mine for sure.
That's great. To relate to you saying you didn't do well in college at first, I remember after my second day of college I wanted to drop out. I didn't even get that far into it and I already wanted to drop out, but glad you both pushed through. Always great.
Yeah.
Helps us, find ourselves more and adapt in this world.
Yeah.
Even with your role yourself, right? Like, you push through, and now you're able to do such an important job, like sharing stories, right? Like, there's not often times where we communicate with other providers and share what we do. And we always say to ourselves, like, I wish there was a lot of young people like yourself that could be able to amplify our voices, or amplify your own voice, or share what we do, and hopefully encourage young people to get into this field, because sadly, we're very underrepresented. Sadly, there's not a lot of people that want to get into this field, but we do it for the good of our hearts, and it is rewarding. It's definitely rewarding.
Right, yeah, that's a good point too. It's when I first told people that I was going to get my master's in social work, a lot of them would say, oh, you know, there's not a lot of money in that field. And I was like, yeah, but that's not why I'm doing it, right? So just to be, I bet your brother too inspired you to just go after what interests you, what you're passionate about, and everything else will just fall into place.
Money's always great, of course.
Yeah,
Of course,
I mean, if you're doing like what you want to do, and especially if it's, you know, what you guys do, like helping people, then that's always rising above how much money you may or may not make.
Yeah, absolutely.
Will this interview get me a raise then?
All right.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
And before the next question, I would like to say that I don't know you guys too well. We've only met a few times, and I'm only like 2-3 years younger than you. But I can say that I look up to you both for sure.
Oh, thank you.
And it's nice to see you doing your thing, man. Like I said before, off basis, like it's nice that you have a drive. You know, not a lot of people do. So I love the fact that you have that. It pushes me to do whatever I want to do interest wise. So it's an interesting thing that you're doing, and it's definitely dope as hell.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, I'm honored that you asked us to do this today. It's really nice, you know, because like even again as like young people, you don't really feel like people look up to you, and so it's just really nice.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course.
I just noticed that we have matching colors too.
Man, you know what I'm saying? You know, and look at us. We got the sneakers, we got the khaki pants, and we got the.
Wow.
Come on.
You didn't get the memo, Paige?
I did not get the memo.
She didn't get the memo. No. At least you dressed for the weather. You got a nice little short sleeve. I'm burning up. But.
What's an uplifting song or artist that you guys listen to?
This is a tough question because it could range, but first one that comes to mind is I could listen to John Mayer all the time, anytime, and he kind of puts me at ease. Like it's a very calming music that. And it's a good memory with my dad as well, because we used to go to his concerts, and
that's nice.
We're both from Fairfield, so that's cool.
Yeah.
John Mayer is definitely my boy.
Did you see him on Impractical Jokers recently?
No.
Yeah, he was on a few episodes ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Get out of here! No way.
See, I'll have to.
He's a cool guy, man. I like John Mayer. He was really cool.
He was funny on this episode.
Oh,
Definitely. Cool.
Definitely gotta check it out.
Yeah.
I think for me, like I'm a big fan of Mac Miller. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Mac Miller. Like I've listened to him since I was in middle school, moving forward until the day that he passed, and his music especially, he started off as a very childish artist, and then he grown into such a mature, beautiful artist, touching such tough subjects about like mental health, addiction, trying to find the ways to get better, trying to find the ways to be the better person that you can be, and what are your barriers. And half the time he always mentioned that the barriers is himself, and he touched base on that so many times, and until the day that he passed. So he's definitely my most inspirational artist, because despite all the shortcomings and mental health battles that he fought himself, like, and sadly that he did pass, he pushed me to do all the stuff that I want to do. He got me into music. He got me into all of my interests growing up. So I definitely say Mac Miller. I think Mac Miller, for sure.
I knew he was gonna say that.
Yeah, I knew she was gonna say John Mayer too. But
Really?
that's a teamwork approach.
Yeah.
That's a teamwork. Yeah, like yeah, for sure, Mac Miller. I think
Yeah, I love artists who get into their feelings and express what they went through and stuff. Like Mac Miller is great. I've listened to him too. He's an amazing artist. Like Juice WRLD too.
Yeah,
He's my favorite artist for sure. And I admire so much that any artist that expresses what they've been through, and especially when they're a big artist, because you can see like for sure not alone, because your favorite artist is going through it too.
And Juice WRLD is a great example. Like he was incredibly vulnerable in his work. Like he did not care. And the fact that he didn't write most of his music, it kind of came off the top of his head.
Yeah.
And to be so vulnerable with millions of people, like that's a hard thing to do. And that's why I have respect for what you do, right? Like you have such vulnerability in the work that you do. And it's like, wow, like people could be so vulnerable in such different forums, and they don't care. They don't care. And I think that's the best thing. And it encourages people to not care what people think, like do the thing. Do the thing.
Right. And how old is he?
He was like 20 something when he passed, like 23.
Juice World, but he was 21.
21. Yeah, he was young. He was young when he passed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so again, like that young population just like being modeled as being vulnerable, because I feel like that's something too that our staff, that's a strength of ours. I think we're all vulnerable with each other, which makes our relationship that much better and the work that much better, right? Because we're taking care of ourselves, helping each other take care of each other, and that helps us to do the work as well.
Yeah, teamwork makes the dream work.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, my 3-year-old client said it just like that.